Hey everyone, it's HiDieBye bringing you a solo run of AGL as Archer without using an Angel's Vigil buff. Before doing this video, I looked on YouTube to see if there were any guides for AGL soloing, and for the most part it's only monks or DD wars who do have self-heals. There was the odd sin, but he was using an Angel's Vigil, and I wanted a challenge, so I'm only using basic buffs that you get all the time from the lotto and daily rewards. Healing buff-wise, I am only using Angel's Coral and Angel's Ward, which are two pretty common buffs that drop through the lotto and daily rewards. The Angel's Ward is a minor heal that gives me 60 health every second, and Angel's Coral restores 1% of my health, so around 200, every second whenever I get under 25% health. You'll see me try to time my diploma rings as best as I can on Illiston to take advantage of this heal as much as I can. The only other significant buffs that I use are a Meteor Falling, which is a buff that drops from the Archer trial field of the limit, and the 24-hour stamina buff. Both of these are pretty easily obtainable without paying any money at all. So, as I enter the dungeon, I tend to just brute force my way through the mobs to speed things up. I do this by kiting the mobs around and not taking any auto attacks from them. There are easier ways of doing it for people with less DPS, such as dragging to a corner and using traps, but it does slow you down on your run, so I really don't bother. For an example of this, I'll show you how to corner pull at the group of mobs after the first boss kill. So for this next part with the two summoners, I make sure to interrupt their summons with a stun trap so I don't have to deal with losing any health. You can do this by running in between the two summoners and planting a stun trap followed by your other traps. The mage will run into your stun trap, activating it and stunning all three mobs before they can get their casts off on you. After this next group of mobs are down, I had a sudden realization that my bow might not have assassin's poison on it. I talked about this a lot in my monkey boss guide. Poisoning your weapons gives a ton of extra damage and is slow to help brute force these mobs and make them nice and quick, as well as give you that little bit of extra DPS to ensure a kill on Illiston, who I really find that as an archer is the only challenge when soloing AGL. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even need any healing buffs to solo this dungeon, but regardless, after poisoning my weapons, you can check out a basic PvE archer spec, which is truly nothing special. I don't even think there really is any other effective archer build, so if you're not sure what to do on your archer, just copy what I do here. So for the Illiston fight, I'm going to try and maximize my DPS for the first burst of damage that I do. To do this, I use my T4 trinket, set bonus, and normally an agility down right as I start DPSing, but for some reason I use it a little after, which is alright too. I pop my diploma rings as soon as I hit around 5,000 to 6,000 hit points, so I can start using the Angel's Coral to heal me up a bit and make it a successful kill. Illiston to me seems to hit for a maximum of about 5,000 with his auto attacks. So to really help get around a lot of that damage, you can chain Diploma Rings with Escape, which allows you to dodge a lot of auto attack damage from him. You really need to try to time your DPS and defensive skills perfectly on this boss every single time in order to get past him, because he really is not a very forgiving boss. You'll see I dip extremely low, and I come within killing range a couple of times. Sometimes you will wipe, but other times you just get lucky, like this run, and you end up killing him. So once you get past him, it really is smooth sailing. You just gotta keep trying. So I'm going to skip to Mechanical Origin after this next group of mobs, which I'll show the corner pulling tactic, since I really don't have a lot more information on the dungeon between then. For the rest of the dungeon, you can really just use corners to drag the Dark Elf mobs, just like I do here, and then brute force your way through the last group of mechanical mobs right up until the Origin. So for the Origin, I follow a similar routine with trying to maximize my DPS in the first skill rotation, with T4 Trinket and set bonus plus agility down. One trick you can do for Origin is getting in melee range to get your stacks of Reborn Trinket or Atrocity set up quickly, then moving back to range distance. And here you can see no matter what screen capture program I use, there's always at least one little freeze up that happens. Anyways, when it comes back, it's right in time for the lightning phase. Just use your Diploma Rings here and keep on DPSing. Try to look for the falling rocks to dodge them, because those are the only things that really do a lot of damage besides the Pillars of Light. If you can avoid these two things and keep constant DPS on the Origin, it's actually a really easy fight, nothing like Illiston. And that's all there is to it. AGL solo without the Vigil. Here's an overview of my gear and gems. This is the same gear I use for Monkey Boss, minus the Diploma Rings. Thanks to everyone who supported my Monkey Boss video and everyone who supports this video. I really appreciate the feedback that I get from everyone, both in-game and on YouTube. One last thing, if there's anyone out there that's experienced with making intro videos, I'd really like to talk about getting one done, since I'm planning on doing more videos. I'm thinking my next one is going to be probably a Magma Crone duo in IDL. It's a really good trick to know that makes IDL a lot easier for your team now that you have to do the full dungeon to get it in. Thanks guys, HiDieBye signing off.